Well, I think it's time we F around a little bit. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm down to F around a bit.
Great, because that's what time it is.
All right, time to F around.
Yeah, effing around with F1 right
Nice.
here with Ian
Let's
and Sean.
get into it.
Let's catch up on where F1 stands heading into Montreal because the engine conversation has accelerated significantly since Miami.
See what you did there. Yeah, so we're in a world right now where F1 has 4 active conversations happening simultaneously about its own engine regulations, right? So we can kind of walk through all of them because they are connected.
The Miami fixes. Before Miami, all stakeholders agreed to reduce super clipping, increase peak power, and improve safety at race starts. Drivers called it a small step in the right direction. That's implemented. Okay, so that's racing. And we told you guys about that when it came up.
Yep. Right.
Sean,
Yep.
tell me about the 2027 proposal. That's the new part.
Yeah, last Friday, actually, the FIA announced something here. So engine hardware likely to change for 2027. The headline, currently near 50-50 split between internal combustion and electrical power. It would shift to about 60-40 with the combustion side taking on the greater importance there. So that means more fuel flow, more ICE power, less electrical output. So about 50 kilowatts more from the combustion engine. And that's 50 kilowatts less coming from electrical. So the FIA statement said it was agreed with kind of unanimous commitment from the technical advisory committee. Not final yet, but
critically not final. I mean, the phrase in principle appears throughout the announcement. The politics are real, though. I mean, some manufacturers benefit from a stronger like ICE, some don't. Mercedes, it's already the strongest, has an interest in not reshuffling the deck. Red Bull and Ford are in a good position. Ferrari's smaller turbocharger setup actually limits their ICE output and may need reworking. Audi is furthest behind and most eager for any changes that allow them to close the gap under the ADUO equalization system. So that kicks in after Canada.
Yep.
The next race. Honda and Aston Martin also need help badly with their ADUO. So the actual vote goes through the FIA World Motorsports Council, possibly an e-vote before the June 23rd meeting. Teams also need cost cap adjustments to afford redesigning their chassis for these new engine specs. Around half the teams were already planning to run their 2026 chassis in 2027 to save money. New engine specs blow up that entire plan. You spent all this time making this car, and it's just like you're 4 races in, and it's like, scrap it, dump it.
The engineering team's got to love it, man.
My God.
You've also got the looming, even bigger conversation about the V8s.
I mean, the V8 bombshell is still developing. FIA President Mohammed bin Salman said in Miami it was coming in a matter of time. He wants V8s from 2030, 1 year before the FIA can mandate them unilaterally at the 2031 natural cycle end. The FIA can't do it alone in 2031. Getting to 2030 requires all manufacturers to agree. Toto Wolff at Mercedes supports V8s in principle, but said F1 can't lose connection to the real world by going full combustion. Proposed 800 horsepower from the combustion engine plus 400 electric on top, a mega engine. Ford, which again partners with Red Bull, and General Motors for Cadillac have both said they're ready for V8s if that's the direction.
Right. The complication, though, kind of like I mentioned, is like this is all happening 4 races into the regulations that just took years for these teams to design. Nicholas Tambazis, the FIA single-seater director, said it plainly, right? It may sound a bit strange to be discussing these matters only a few races after we started, but it's the natural cycle of the discussion that needs to take place. However, like I said, these teams got to have their heads spinning right now. I mean, like, well, now we're going to put in, more effort to get these cars ready for these next rounds of regulations. And are they just going to flip the script on us again?
It seems so flip-floppy to change it back now.
And like we've said, it's so early on too. Like, were we not expecting some growing pains or an adjustment period or some adaptations?
I don't know. I mean, not being at the physical race, it's hard to
Yeah.
tell, like, if it's like so quiet, it's weird and it
Yeah.
loses its edge.
True. That's fair.
But like at the same time, Toto's got a very good point. You can't ignore the fact that like climate change, fossil fuels is, and even if America is not necessarily concerned with it at the moment, that this is the most international sport, right? Like,
Yeah.
some countries are, controlling countries are. Like you gotta play with the ball.
No.
So one more general story before we go team by team. Ford confirmed this week that they've spoken with Max Verstappen about a future Le Mans appearance in one of their hypercar entries.
Oh, while he's still doing F1.
I mean, that's the plan. Ford's global racing director, Mark Rushbrook, said at the 6 Hours of Spa, a WEC race that ran last weekend, that he would love to see that, yes, and confirmed there have been actual discussions dating back 3+ years. Ruled out 2027, that's Ford's first WEC season, but said it could happen while Verstappen is still racing in F1, depending on the schedules. The last active F1 driver to race Le Mans was Fernando Alonso in 2018 when he won it for Toyota. Nico Hülkenberg won it in 2015 with Porsche while racing full-time in F1. Verstappen's own sports car team is already competing at the Nürburgring. So he's serious about this, and the Ford relationship creates a real path as they're inside the Red Bull cars. They want to get their hands on the Red Bull driver.
I mean, if anyone can make it happen, like like you mentioned, Alonso and Hülkenberg, I mean, why not Max, right?
Why not Max?
Yeah. Let's see it. I'd be curious to see it.
So now we go to the calendar situation. And I don't mean we're planning vacation. Bahrain and Saudi Arabia were canceled in April because of the Iran war. F1 now evaluating whether to reschedule at least one of them. Liberty Media CEO Derek Chang and F1 CEO Stefano Domenicali. Nailed it.
Okay. Yeah.
Both referenced options on an investor call last week, including the possibility of rescheduling one race toward the end of the season.
So, I mean, it wouldn't take place over there, right? Where would it go?
No, it would take place over there, but.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you mean where in the schedule would go?
Okay, so they're ready. They're okay. Yes,
Because
that too. I meant
rescheduling,
geographically, but yes, also where in the schedule. There's a very
no. I mean,
point.
I think Bahrain and Saudi Arabia are unscathed.
Okay.
By the Iran war, mostly.
Yeah.
I want to say mostly. I'm not completely sure.
Sure, right. And we're talking months away right now, I would assume, because these things take time to plan.
I mean, the end of the season already has Las Vegas, Qatar, Abu Dhabi on consecutive weekends, so it's a triple header. Adding a fourth would be unprecedented in F1 history. The only other option is the October 3rd through 4th weekend between Azerbaijan and Singapore.
Mm-hmm.
Turkey, which returns in 2027, was floated as a possible replacement this year, but there are no firm plans. Abu Dhabi has an exclusivity deal to close the season, so even its date would need to move. The ceasefire is very fragile. Trump rejected Iran's latest proposal. So, I mean, until there's real stability, F1 can't commit to anything, but they're already putting the idea out there.
Okay. Well, again, interesting to follow. I hope we get at least one of them back. More racing is good for me.
Bingo, bango. All right, all 11 teams, team principal for each and anything relevant happening with that team. Something we probably should have done at the beginning of the year, but it's just a good time before the next race to kind of catch up on who's running which team. So somebody gets fired, the audience isn't unfamiliar.
Yeah. Let's kick it off with last year's champion McLaren. You've got Andrea Stella here, Italian, joined McLaren from Ferrari in 2015 as the head of race operations, then became team principal in 2022. He signed a long-term extension midway through 2024 after leading McLaren from the back of the grid to championship contending. Zach Brown called him an irreplaceable part of the rebuild.
McLaren is second in the constructors, first among those not named, Mercedes. Their big upgrade in Miami worked. Norris won the sprint, took second in the Grand Prix, and was furious they didn't win at all. He believed the race was McLaren's to lose after the undercut. Stella was honest. I think Mercedes still possesses a couple of tenths advantage, but the gap is visibly closing. Lambiase joins as chief racing officer in 2028. Zach Brown was asked about Max Verstappen following, said, if a gap opened up, that's a different conversation, of course. But both Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri are on multi-year deals, so that gap shouldn't be opening soon.
Right. Yeah. What about Mercedes? You mentioned them.
I mean, Mercedes team principal and managing partner, Toto Wolff, the most visible team principal left after the changeover at Red Bull with Horner. Former racing driver, became managing partner in 2013, owns 30% of the team. Longest serving team boss in the sport right now, signed a new 3-year deal in January of 2024, won 8 consecutive constructors championships, currently leading the 2026 constructors championship, and as the championship leader in Kimi Antonelli.
At 3 wins from 4 races as a teenager. Yeah, and Wolf said he almost feels like Antonelli's the championship favorite right now.
Wolff's complexity on the engine situation is worth noting. I mean, he supports the V8 direction in principle, but warned against moving too fast and said anyone who talks about changing engine regulations in the short term should question their way of assessing F1. So spectacular is the fight for the lead. He's protecting a competitive advantage while being diplomatic about it. The big Mercedes upgrade package was held back from Miami. It's coming to Montreal. They won Miami without their best parts. That should scare everyone else.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Taking a look at Red Bull, team principal Laurent McKay, French, took over in mid-2025.
I think it's Laurent McKay.
Laurent McKay? Laurent McKay. Anyway, took over in mid-2025 when Christian
He's
Horner
French. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. He previously ran the Racing Bulls as team principal. Before that, roles at Arrows, Minardi, the FIA, and Ferrari. So guided Red Bull through a difficult transition and kept Verstappen within 2 points of the championship last season.
Would you like to be named Laurent?
No.
Laurent? I mean, the Miami result was their best story of the year. Verstappen qualified second, was in genuine race-winning contention before the first lap spin, finished fifth, his best result of 2026. They brought their version of the rotating rear wing, the Macarena wing, as some in the paddock are calling it. Technical analysts said Red Bull's version actually achieves a bigger gap between the main plane and upper assembly than Ferrari's, though it's lighter and uses like a single central kind of articulator, I think it's called. So, I mean, progress is real, but the Ford partnership is making them a lot stronger. And that Le Mans conversation is interesting, to say the least.
No, absolutely. Taking a look at Ferrari, team principal Fred Vasseur, also French, took over in 2023 after stints with Renault and Sauber. He built a championship-winning junior program at ART Grand Prix. Still searching for Ferrari's first title since 2008. Got a new multi-year contract from Ferrari last summer despite not yet winning a championship. And Ferrari's statement said his leadership aligns fully with Ferrari's values.
Yeah, I mean, they love him. Ferrari had a rough Miami in parts. Their smaller turbocharger design, which sped up their race starts significantly, giving Charles Leclerc the rocket launch that put him in the lead, limits their overall power output. They're aware of it. I mean, Vasseur said it'll be a full push development-wise all season. Leclerc's final lap spin and 20-second penalty dropped him from 6th to 8th and hurt the constructors' standings. Lewis Hamilton is looking a lot better this year, though. He says he's got his mojo back.
Yeah, I mean, they're sitting in third in the constructors. Real gap behind McLaren now. Overheating issue on Sunday in Miami was something they need to address before the heat in Montreal, though it is cooler than Miami, so that may be less of a factor, I guess.
Yeah, right? I mean, let's go to the mid-pack. Williams team principal James Vowles, British, first team principal role after 2 decades at Mercedes, where he climbed from engineer to chief strategist, took Williams from the bottom of the grid to 5th in the constructors in 2025, signed a new long-term contract before that result was secured, described his job as fixing the foundations before going for glory.
And explained this week why their winner was a disaster.
He called it messy. And he said the FW48 is 1.5 to 2 times more complex than anything Williams has built before. They had crash test failures that added weight at the worst possible moment, and the budget cap limits how fast they can shed it. But Miami gave them their first double points finish. So Carlos finished 9th, Albon 10th, both in Q2 for the first time all season. So, I mean, Val's after the race, it's great to see the hard work of the last 5 weeks adding up. There's still a long road, but the positive news is there's more performance to come. They're now legitimate midfield contender when the car is working. The weight issue is a season-long project, but the direction is right.
Absolutely. Looking at Racing Bulls, junior Red Bull team, their team principal, Alan Permain, British, spent more than 30 years at the Instone factory under Benetton, Renault, Lotus, and Alpine before Laurent, that we mentioned earlier, brought him in when he moved up to Red Bull. So Permain on his new role, certainly a little bit easier now that I've had some time under my belt, let's say after the shock of it all happening so quickly.
I mean, yeah. Racing Bulls had Liam Lawson, Isaac Hadjar's teammate, involved in the Gasly accident in Miami. That was ghastly for us on our plays. When his gearbox failed suddenly and he couldn't stop his car, Gasly's Alpine was flipped upside down. Lawson couldn't have prevented it. I mean, complete mechanical failure. Hadjar himself hit the wall at turn 14 and retired. A rough Miami for the junior team. They'll bring their big upgrade to Montreal, same as Haas. Permain has them 6th in the constructors. I mean, Aston Martin, I don't want to talk about him, but we're going to. Team principal and managing technical partner, Adrian Newey, the most decorated designer in Formula One history. More than 200 Grand Prix victories across Williams, McLaren, and Red Bull. More than 14 drivers' titles and 12 constructors' titles on his resume.
Yeah, I took on team principal duties just a few months after joining as managing technical partner. That was his first time leading an F1 operation after designing nearly every championship car of the past 30 years. And it's not really started well.
Well, the Newey designed Aston Martin Valkyrie, which he'd been developing, had nothing to do with this. The AMR 26 was a car he inherited and then struggled with the Honda power unit vibration problems. But Miami was progress. Both Alonso and Stroll finished a Grand Prix for the first time this season. Honda confirmed the vibrations are fixed. The ADUO equalization system kicks in after Canada, which should allow Honda to close some of the performance gap that is them in the back of the field on pure engine power. So, I mean, Fernando Alonso said they're putting all their aero development bets on the second half of the season. We must acknowledge there is a big gap to close. That was the official team quote. And this will not be the work of a week. I mean, at least it's honest.
Yeah, progress. Looking at Haas. No.
Team principal. I'm just saying, Aston Martin is just always saying, just wait till you see it. Just wait. Right. Wait till he gets here. It'll be here. Just wait till we see. We'll show it to you. It'll be here. It's coming.
Moving on to Haas, their team principal, Ayoko Matsu, Japanese. He replaced Gunther Steiner as the eve of the 2024 season. So he'd been the chief race engineer and director of engineering at Haas before the promotion. Built his career at BAR and Renault before Haas. Gene Haas said the move put engineering at the heart of management. Under Komatsu, Haas went from last in the constructors to 7th, then 8th. Under new 2026 regulations, they held 4th after the first 3 races before Miami reshuffled things somewhat.
Haas held P4 through 3 races and then got overtaken by Alpine in Miami when Alpine brought their big upgrade and Haas didn't. Haas's upgrade comes to Montreal. Ollie Behrman, and Ocon are their drivers. Behrman had the high-speed crash at Suzuka that helped force the regulation changes. The team is building something real under Komatsu, and there is a team worth watching in Canada when their package arrives. Probably a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, too, saying, like, we're the American team. You don't need Cadillac, you know?
Yeah. Right. I would think so.
Yeah, first year for these electric 50/50 engines. First year we have a team named Audi, and they were doing pretty good before they were called Audi. Last year they were doing a little bit better, I would argue. But Mattia Bonato heads the overall Audi F1 project. Allan McNish is their new racing director, started in Miami after Jonathan Wheatley departed suddenly in March for personal reasons.
Yeah, Manish was a kind of a big hire.
Three-time Le Mans winner, four-time FIA GT champion, former F1 driver. He's been associated with the Audi brand throughout his career. His first weekend in the role, Hulkenberg retired, Bortoleto 12th. McNish after Miami. I live to race. I've lived to race all my life. Since I was 11 years old, I don't go home happy unless we've won. I know that's not always the case. He loved Bortoleto's move around the outside of Hajar in the sprint, called it out specifically as the moment of the weekend for him. Audi is facing the biggest engine performance gap to Mercedes. I mean, it's crazy. I just think that Audi is like, are they in the Aston Martin territory of when are we going to get it?
Right. No, it seems like it right now. Yeah.
I want you to tell me about the midfield team that was really impressive in Miami.
You talking about Alpine?
Of course I am. Yeah. I mean, Bortoleto and Kimi Antonelli are our biggest parlay of the race, and they hit it.
Yeah. Yeah. Alpine.
Recency bias. We love him. Go.
Executive advisor and team racing principal, Flavio Briatore, the man who ran the Benetton team while they won championships with Schumacher. He returned to Alpine in 2024, took on team principal duties after Oliver Oakes left in early 2025. Managing director alongside him was Steven Nielsen.
I mean, first, Jason, hold on. Yeah, they had so much turnover. First of all, I love that they let Flavio back into the racing sport. He's best for it. But like we said, they had their best weekend with Gasly didn't have a great weekend, but Franco Colapinto had a great weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully Gasly can stay in the race next time. But Jason Somerville, that's the name I was looking for, named as new deputy technical director. He worked at Alpine back when they were Renault from 2010 to 2011, then led aerodynamics at Williams, then helped develop the 2022 technical regulations at Formula One Management. Then the FIA has head of aerodynamics. Now back at Instone. Briatore and their executive technical director, David Sanchez, clearly wanted serious technical pedigree, and Somerville has it. Second, this is something I wanted to talk to you about. Those pink cars might be going away. There's some reports that Gucci is in discussions to replace BWT as Alpine's title sponsor from 2027. That'd be next season.
Yep.
BWT has been their pink livery partner since 2022, and the contract is thought to be expiring. Alpine's statement was careful. They are constantly looking for new partnership opportunities, and discussions are always kept confidential. They didn't deny it. The connection, Kering, the Gucci parent company, is led by Luca De Meo, the former chief executive way back when, who deeply understands F1's commercial value. Briatore knows that world intimately from his Benetton days. So fashion and F1 are increasingly intertwined. Mercedes has Adidas, Cadillac has Tommy Hilfiger, and Gucci coming to Alpine would be the biggest fashion deal in paddock history.
No doubt. That would actually be really cool to see. I think they'd probably do something really cool with the cars. So that Gucci green and red is something I would look forward to seeing.
Time to talk about the man, Graham Loden. Graham Loden. Cadillac team principal, British, previously led Virgin Racing and Marusa through their early years as new F1 entrants. He knows exactly what it's like to start from scratch in this sport. So, CEO of the TWG Motorsports division that partnered with General Motors to create the project. is Dan Towers.
Right. And this week he gave a big interview about where Cadillac stands.
He said they're tracking ahead of schedule on short-term goals, said after Melbourne when they feared being too slow to even make the 107% qualifying cutoff. All those fears evaporated. Their cars have seen the checkered flag 7 times in 8 attempts. Only Mercedes and Ferrari have a better finishing record. They've started all 4 races with both cars. McLaren, Williams, and Audi can't say the same. Their Miami upgrade worked as expected. Sergio Perez split the Aston Martins in the race result. Valtteri Bottas, the only driver on the Cadillac side of things, scored their best result of the season at China with a 13th place finish. I mean, Towers on points before the summer break. We are aiming to do that. That's not calling a shot. This is an ambitious team. So they're above Aston Martin and the constructors for a brand new team. That's remarkable.
That is pretty crazy. That is. Yeah, kudos to them. They got to keep it up, but so far impressive early.
And we save this one for the end because it deserves its own moment. The Canadian Grand Prix is next weekend at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve Sprint Weekend. One of the most beloved races on the calendar. Montreal is one of the great Grand Prix cities in the world.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And now there's a strike.
The Sex Work Anonymous Committee of Montreal,
The SWAC,
SWAC, has called for a strike among strip club dancers for May 23rd. That is sprint race day and qualifying day at the Canadian Grand Prix. The Grand Prix itself is the following day, May 24th. I believe they had a statement, Sean?
Yeah, so they came out and said, we think the Grand Prix is the best time to strike. The clubs are at their busiest, making it the most lucrative period of the year for our boss. So this is our chance to threaten that income and affect them when it hurts the most.
Last year, a record 352,000 people attended the Canadian Grand Prix across the entire weekend.
Yeah, and SWAC is demanding 3 things here. The abolition of the bar fee, a fee that dancers are required to pay to the club in order to perform. The logic being the club should pay them, not the other way around. Right. Worker status with actual employment protections and safe working conditions like any other job.
They also allege that during the Grand Prix weekend, specifically, bar fees are increased exorbitantly, and new arbitrary rules are often heavily enforced with exploitive penalty fees attached. Their words, "We're clearly trapped in an employer-employee power dynamic, and the bar fee model benefits only the bosses."
Yeah, and kind of like we just said, that's a pretty unfair balance, when the workers are more the draw, I would imagine.
Who's running this club? Louis C.K.? The Canadian GP this year is a sprint weekend, so there are so there are actually more on-track sessions than a normal race weekend, meaning more people in Montreal for more days. The timing of the strike is not accidental, as we mentioned. The grievances are real labor rights issues that exist well outside the Formula One context, but the fact that it's happening in Montreal during Grand Prix week means it is, without question, an F1 story now.
They didn't choose this weekend on purpose. All right, on accident. They did choose it on purpose.
Yeah, boom. Nailed it. So in the biz, we call that radio.
That's right.
Make sure you visit our new website, witandgritpod.com. You can find the All In With the End Substack, where I'll be putting up the Canadian Grand Prix card. We'll have another show before then, I believe. But
yeah, and also leave us your thoughts, like we were saying. Right now, we've got the one review from Sean. So if you want to see if you can do any better, let us know.
Can I leave one?
You can. Anyone can. I could.
Would you read it?
We probably shouldn't, but we could. Yeah, of course.
All right, so The Mandalorian and Grogu is coming to theaters, and we're going to get 2 completely different looks at it. We're both excited to see The Odyssey. GLP-1 drugs are affecting the restaurant industry. 40-year-olds are defaulting on student loans, and in Montreal next week, the strippers are on strike for Grand Prix weekend. We're covering it all. Full F1 card before qualifying right after qualifying next weekend. I'm not going to do it before qualifying.
That's crazy. That's insanity.
I can barely predict what's going to happen during the race. You don't know if they're going to finish.
That's right. Well, until next weekend, y'all be safe. Have fun.
Peace out. Follow this page. Follow YouTube.
WittenGrit.com. WittenGritPod.com.
WittenGritPod.com.
WittenGritPod.com.